Let's move to Selena. Selena says, I've noticed that in one of my friendships, I often find myself bracing when I receive a voice message from this person. I don't have full clarity of my unmet needs in those moments. Now, I tend to feel annoyed or avoidant, and my default is to withdraw rather than bring it up. I'd love support in understanding this pattern and finding a way to approach it more relationally. Hi, Selena.
Right.
How are you?
Just as nervous as Tarsha, I think. Like, what?
I'm
I'm so
happy to
shocked.
see you.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here, but it always costs a lot of internal convincing. Like, it's an important question, and no, you're not going to message Lynn that you're dropping off the call, etc.
This is the day of people stepping up with courage while they notice all their flight defenses. I love it. I love it. Well, I am delighted you are here. And where do you want to start?
Yeah, so perhaps I can give a little bit more context. I have this lovely friend in my life, and what I love about them is that they're very unfiltered. So you can have very fun and quick, fast paced conversations with them. And at the same time, I think that this has to do with what I brought up here, that sometimes when I receive a message or I see a message coming in from them, I've recently noticed, oh, there's a pattern. Like my body does something when I see a message came in. And my thoughts are going into a very critical, like when I listen to my thoughts, they sound very negative. They sound like, oh my God, here we go again, or what now? And so what often happens is that I put my phone away or I withdraw for a while. And I also live with this person, so we're very close. So I can't avoid it for long, but then I put this space between actually listening to the message. And I don't know what exactly is happening with me, but I think for some reason I sometimes expect a dump of some kind that I'm not fully ready for. But I have
Uh-huh.
no idea how to bring that up. Also, understanding that they have a history of being told a lot, you're too much. And I don't
Uh-huh.
want to play into that as well.
Start there. Start there. Say, I would start right there and say, I have a little dilemma and there's something that I've been holding, and I'd like to think together with you a good way of moving forward with it. Do you have some space for me to describe it to you? Because I want to think together what would work well for us both. And then I would say exactly what you just said to me. I've just recently noticed there's some resistance happening in my body when I'm anticipating an engagement. And I think it's because of I don't know if it's the time, the quantity, the nature of the material. I think we've had some heavy conversations about blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trusting myself fully right now to manage the flow because I think I'm caring so much for you not having the experience of feeling like you're too much, because I don't want to unintentionally convey that message to you, that I'm not sure how to tell you when I'm available or not available in a way that doesn't trigger that wound for you. Can we think together about that? How does that feel as a beginning?
That feels like a great start. And I
Mm.
bringing that dilemma to them makes a lot of sense. I guess I was a bit worried about what follows after. What can I say that is still caring and not
Mhm.
just abandoning them in this abyss of, oh my God,
Yeah.
am I too much again? But
Yeah.
I think it's the self responsibility of I'm not sure I can manage, because I think that is what I feel. I'm not sure I can actually tell or say, oh, this is too much right now or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Let's unpack this whole concept of too much just to bring a little bit more awareness into that consciousness. So, if a elephant wants to cross a river and it tries to cross the river on a straw bridge, its weight is too much for the straw bridge. A squirrel would do just fine. Okay. A frog would have no issue. But an elephant, the weight of the elephant does not match the straw bridge. An elephant would need a stone bridge. And the elephant is not inherently too much. The too much and the not enough doesn't tell us about our identity. It tells us about the engineering between two people. It tells us about what's available or not available in a relational context. Think of it even as food. An apple might be not enough if I'm very starving. An apple might be too much if I just ate a big meal. The not enough and too muchness is not about the nature of the apple.
Mhm.
And this is true for your friend or for any of us who probably grew up in a family of origin where there were not a lot of resources available. And then the child believes that their needs were too much, which was never too much. It's not true. But it was more than the system was able to respond to in a satisfying way. So for you to hold that in you, knowing that it's not your job to suddenly curate an environment where that never comes up again, and that your friend is not inherently too much or too little, and that some of the requests that they have from you, you don't have enough informed consent ahead of time to know whether or not you're willing to give the thing that they are needing. And then when their pain comes up, when it's not available, you care for their pain. And perhaps a part of you feels pressure to tend to that pain. The work of consciousness is being able to tell the truth in the kindest possible way and trusting that the humans can then work with it. It's a way of honoring and respecting another person
Mhm.
instead of treating them like the child. And it's a way of also honoring and respecting ourselves to say, I am struggling with something in me. And I think it's jigsawing up against something that you are also playing with. And I bet if you and I could just talk about this more consciously, we could both find some relief from it and maybe even some healing from some of the patterns that we've both installed that we bring to this particular dynamic. Are you up for it? Can we look at it? This is a path of integrating everything, not splitting things off. Like it's partly the consciousness that there's nothing bad happening in you. You're noticing your own history and programming, just like your friend is experiencing their history and programming. We're not going to bypass it. We're not going to be able to, and nor should we. Why would we even want to bypass it? This is reality. This is what we inherited. This is the material that we've been given. So now my recommendation would be we learn how to describe it, language it out in the most neutral, non-judgment. Like, yeah, I see all of these judgments, and then I notice myself wanting to actually inhibit myself, and then I notice myself wanting to avoid you, and then I notice myself, isn't this interesting? Look at all of these funny like strategies that I'm using. And then I'm realizing blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what the right answer is. And I'm wondering what you're thinking and noticing. And I'm wondering what you're kind of needing and feeling and what comes up for you. And I wonder how you and I could have this conversation in a way that will feel healing to you and healing to me, where you get to be who and what you are, and I get to be who and what I am. And sometimes it's a match, and sometimes we find other people, but we're honest and we care and we're kind. And sometimes I want to be your strategy to meet those needs. And sometimes I don't want to be your strategy to meet those needs. And I want to hold it in a way that doesn't feel like a rejection or an abandonment or a critique. And I also want to be able to talk about my limits with some trust that that's not going to be interpreted through an old wound that is unnecessarily painful because it means to you something that it doesn't mean to me.